Ignatian theology spirituality is centered around finding God's will for better decision-making. Ultimately, the challenge is to strive for excellence. Theology is the study of nature of God and the different religious beliefs. Within these different aspects, including ethics, spirituality, insights, commitment to the world, the most useful aspect of Ignatian theology is insights and our commitment to the world, especially during the recent COVID-19 pandemic. For me, the thematic I am most sensitive to is ecological justice and conservation, which for me pairs with getting human thinking right. Before the virus, it has been very easy for people to forget about the earth and why it is so important, but now we are forced to appreciate nature more than before. Ignatius Loyola's contemplation of the Incarnation suggests that God sees the earth as home. The definition of home in the dictionary is the place where one lives permanently, especially as a member of a family or household. But for me, and I'm sure many others, home is more broad than just a building where we sleep at night. Just as often believe society's religion, I feel anything or anyone could be our home if we treat that thing or person with care, support, acceptance, and love. Laudato Si is a theologian who believes the earth is our common home, in that we humans, as a human family, must come together to better our earth. As COVID-19 escalated, there's a sudden concentration about the environment and the need to protect nature, while the concern for what is happening to our planet is escalating. This raises the question of what is not at home right now. Due to the coronavirus, human life, society, and structure is not at home, at least for me. That being said, people have been able to reconnect with nature and their faith through nature during this time. Acknowledging that there are struggles with faith during COVID-19 is important and can be helped by pairing theology with ecology. As many know, the earth, our home, has been struggling with pollution, leading to a ton of negative issues within our environment. Since this pandemic, there have been reported improvements of up to 60% in air quality due to less air and road traffic, lower fossil fuel emissions, and there are seen to be possible links between the virus and its viability as the seasons change. Additionally, pollution in New York has dropped by 50%, 25% in China, and days with good air quality increased by 11.4%. As the pandemic excels more and more, news about the ways COVID is helping our common home heal has been shared. This pandemic is opening up many people's eyes by forcing them to watch how our earth is benefiting from the decrease of pollution. The lack of socialization and travel is forcing people all around the world to go out into nature and reconnect with nature. Recently, due to the COVID-19 set of rules, people have been going outdoors more in order to seek solace from the coronavirus. You may be wondering, how does this relate to theology? Laudato Si talks about how God created the earth for humans and other beings, forcing us to realize we should be treating nature with respect, more respect than we have before, and unfortunately, this is a new concept to many. Gutierrez, a theologian we have studied, developed the idea that theology is tied with liberation. The feeling of liberation many are reporting to have by being in nature connects theology and faith with ecology. Gutierrez feels that theology applies itself to contemporary circumstances like this pandemic, and it will evolve consistently with our society. Therefore, people will be learning to find and connect faith and theology in nature during this pandemic. In a recent study, it's been found that people who spend more time in the outdoors have exhibited lower levels of stress, which is similar to the effects of religion on people. Additionally, Smith has said in his writings that people use religion as a way to gain sense of social control. People are going to nature for hikes and walks in order to keep themselves on track and feel a sense of control in these uncontrollable times. It is clear that nature is taking a similar role of religion and theology. Nature has become almost a safe haven for people, especially those whose lives and life-changing moments have been at halt. The depression which is hitting so many people and families due to the new guidelines brought on by the coronavirus is a heartbreaking problem that is hard to watch. All around the world, schools are closing and people are missing out on some of the best moments of their life, like graduating from high school, college, or really any grade. Kids are missing out on the moments that they would always keep in their hearts, like senior prom, school dances, and overall socialization. Although they seem small, it's a really important thing that people do in their lives. People are postponing their weddings. New mothers are still unable to hold their babies that they had 2 weeks ago. Churches are being forced to have online sessions, making praying in that community feel different. Funerals are not in churches anymore and are not what they should be. They are more depressing than ever. Parks are closing, caution tape and signs are wrapped around certain places in order to keep people away. The coronavirus may have positively impacted the environment, but almost everyone is losing hope and missing out on the small things that bring them joy, even like getting a hug from your best friend after a rough day. I and many others are so thankful that there is nature around which we could take advantage of in order to replenish some of the hope that we are lacking due to the coronavirus. I want to end by sharing a story that happened to me the other day, which really made me think about theology in relation to this pandemic. The other day, I was walking my dog and I saw an elderly gentleman wearing a mask. In respect for his health and likely fear, I stopped and moved away from him so he didn't get so close to me, but he realized what I was doing. To my surprise, he stepped closer to me, stopped, looked me straight in the face, and said, "Everything is going to be okay soon." I began to cry and realized the virus, despite all the negativity, is forcing nearby communities to support and care for each other more than I imagined. The stories and struggles we will share with our loved ones after this pandemic will reconnect us. As a society, we will connect and form a religion of the world. Just as Lofton says, society is the soul of religion. I was never very religious, but now, especially after taking this class and studying theology, I go out to a nearby park and appreciate what God has given us and how theology can help us find peace, hope, love, and appreciation. I never took advantage of nature as much as I do now, and that'll never change, but now I take full advantage of it. Ignatian theology spirituality is centered around finding God's will for better decision making. Having nature as an outlet to better ourselves and adhere to social distancing guidelines is something which connects us to theology, even if some don't realize it.